how long have you been a PT for?
Oh, how long have I been a PT for? Not that long, actually. So, in fact, when did I launch my Instagram? I'm gonna have to check. It was like 2 years ago. That's my first post.
Is that the first time that you started? So
I think it was 2019, November. Okay, here's my first post. November 2019 was when I officially started PTing. And then we had a lockdown not long after, didn't we?
Yeah.
So my first experience really was like new clients, and then I had to train them outside in the freezing cold.
I think we all did. It was like,
I
really didn't like it, and it was raining and it was windy. And I think there was one time I was like out there with an umbrella, and my client, he knows who he is, would literally be like, "You okay?" I was like, yeah, it's fine. And he was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's just me." I was like, "Yeah, but then there's like back to back like 3 others, so I'm literally standing in the rain for that long."
It took me about a year to get rid of my, I don't know, they're called chilblains on my feet. They were like purple because my toes were so cold in the winter. And I'm making feet for like the whole year.
Well, actually,
luckily we were
in
lockdown, so no one's going to see them because I wasn't going anywhere with my toes out, so that's fine.
Yeah, I had to like wear like double socks. It was actually so cold. I remember I was like, I'm freezing. My client was like, I'm really cold. And I actually started thinking, do you know what? I'm going to warm up with you and run around with you.
Step and tap and step and tap. Okay, do another squat. Yeah. I'm just going to dance. Body squat. It's okay.
Just keep going.
And sometimes I just have to work people like twice as hard because I'm like, I've got to keep you warm. Normally, I don't think you should work this hard, but you're going to freeze to death. So
exactly. But then in the summer, I think it was like just as bad. Like in the summer, it got really, really hot where I was like, we need shade. I was like, I can't do these workouts in the sun.
Not built for this, for that environment. You're like a gym, a studio.
Yeah, my God. What did you do before your PT?
I trained as a dancer. So I went to dancing school, and then I had a few odd jobs before I started dancing. I worked in Foot Locker for a little bit in Chester, and then I got a few jobs abroad, and then I moved to London and worked in London doing like events, commercial style stuff, a little bit of TV stuff. So I danced, and then I'm always into fitness because obviously to be a dancer you've got to be fit, so it kind of marries quite well.
And then what made you want to become a PT?
I kind of always wanted to do it. I always thought, oh, this would be a good job to have on the side. I don't know actually really if you could do it on the side, but I always kind of wanted to do it, and I kind of thought, why didn't I just do it when I was younger, like get the qualification? But then after I had my 2 girls, so I had twin girls, obviously your body goes through so much, and I just was like, why am I not snapping back like everyone else is around me? And then I was like, why can't I sit up straight? Why is my body going through this? Like, how do I get back to how it was? I tried to do a dance class a few months after having the girls, and I just couldn't move as quickly as I used to. I just couldn't get my head around it. And I was like, I wish someone could have shown me how to do things properly and guide me throughout the whole process. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to be that person. So I couldn't find someone. I was like, well, I'm going to be that person to help other women who are going through it. But yeah, I it wasn't just getting the PT qualification, it was all the other things like the obviously pre-postnatal, but then my pre-postnatal qualification felt wasn't good enough. So then I had to like, well, let's do another course. And I was like, okay, this is really good. This is kind of hitting the nail on the head, but I still can't quite find the answer to what my question is. Like, why are some women experiencing this and other women aren't? So then I found another fantastic course, which I think asks more questions and gives you more answers or ways to work out what the answer could potentially be. So I can't remember what your question was.
No, that's really good, because I was going to say that because I've had loads of people before like they became a PT, that a lot of the time that they were telling me that basically the reason why they became a PT was actually because they were just trying to just learn a bit more about the body and learn about, you know, why something's happening. So for example, in your instance, it's like, you know, I've just had babies and my body's not doing what it would normally be able to do. And so they're like, okay, for them, it could be something completely different, like an injury, or, you know, they've hurt themselves in some sort of way and they're like trying to figure out why they can't get back into it. So they end up just studying and being like,
and then how can you? You shouldn't just be like, well, I can't do it, so there's no other option. I was like, there are other options. How do we get there?
So. Yeah, so that's exactly what they're doing. So they're like, I need to know why this is happening. I think someone actually asked me today, they were like, oh, someone told me today, I think someone told me that they were like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about maybe just doing the course, and it's just so I can learn a little bit more about it, because obviously they're training and they're like, you know, I enjoy it, but it'll be nice to just know a bit more about, you know, why I'm doing it, how I can improve, and it's not necessarily to train other people. Actually, that's really random, but I was in a taxi yesterday, and the driver was telling me, and I love this because, you know, obviously we have big conversations, and went from like tattoos to fitness, because they're going to ask, what do I do? And obviously I'm going to say I'm a PT, and then straight from then, that's when it just drills in. And the guy was basically saying that, you know, I do this, but I actually started like training some of my wife's friends. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And he was like, yeah, I don't actually like training people. It's just I wanted to know more about it, so that if someone did ask, I could say, hey, look, this is what you should try and do.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to help you. And actually, his main reason was because his son took a picture of him when they were on holiday, and he was very overweight. And he was like, you know what, I need to do something about it. So he's like, do you know what? I want to learn more, so then I can apply that to myself, so I can get the best results possible. Because obviously not everyone has access to a PT, and obviously sometimes when you're finding one, obviously you want to find the right one, the right fit and everything else. But then some people are like, you know what, I'm just going to try and do it myself, which is fair enough, and just learn that way and then apply it to themselves.
Yeah,
Which
I
I'm
feel
sure
like knowledge is power, isn't it?
knowledge is power. So then if obviously you've got all those qualifications and everything, what clients, well, I don't say type of client, but what clients do you normally train, or who would you normally train?
I love training women. I love training women that have had children, that haven't had children. I do train men as well. I love my male clients, but it kind of doesn't really make that much of a difference. But I feel like kind of, yeah, going through the journey that they're going through, if it's like through pregnancy and then after, I just feel like there's so much in common.
Yeah.
And also the questions that they start asking, if I don't know the answer, or it's something that I'm passionate about and really am interested in. So I'm like, oh, I never really thought of that. So it makes me then want to learn more. And that's all like my, you know, I'd love to know everything about everything, but you know, this is my tunnel vision really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love training women. I love being around women, but then I love my male clients, but they tend to be fathers as well. So it's not too dissimilar really, the parenting conversations, but you know, they haven't been pregnant, so.
No, and that's right. And I was trying to say this to other people. I was like, it is different, obviously, training like mums and then dads, and they go through completely different struggles, and that's what they and it's not that their goal isn't necessarily like the same. Like obviously you got women who want to get back in feeling as good as they felt just before they turned pregnant. Sometimes depending on how the pregnancy went, their physiques and their bodies change, so there's a lot going on. And then the feel good part, and I think with the dads, it's, well, from my personal experience, I always say to everyone, like, it was trying to make sure I could, like, you know, do stuff with my kids and do everything with them, and not feel tired. And hopefully, like, when I'm training and everything, that will help give me more energy when I'm like, you know, when I see them and if I'm working. Because obviously a lot of the time, not always, dads will only get paternity, and so they don't get like the maternity time where they can spend with their newborns, and that ends up being like a massive factor. And also, you know, I guess when you're a dad, you then, that term dad bod, you know, they're also worried about that, and they're like, oh, I don't want to get a dad bod, I don't want to be that dad where, you know. And I think that was like in the last, no, not the last one, but the one before that, the podcast that I did with my friend Anthony, and he was like obviously saying that, you know, he doesn't be that dad where, you know, he's out of shape, he wants to still be able to still be in shape, not like, you don't have to be like, you know, shredded or anything.
Do you know what is, I realize is majorly important about being somewhat fit? I'm not saying you have to be like athletically fit, you don't have to run a marathon, but doing a jungle gym, right? You know, running after your children in soft play.
Yeah. There's
That's the most
a
exhausting thing. I'm quite good because I'm small, so I can like get in there. And I was, you know, early on when I wasn't training as much, I was getting back into training. Oh, it's hard work. And then I went, you know, a few months later, and I was like, boom, 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 zoom, boom, boom. And I was like, I'm so fit, yeah. And I was like, this is goals. Like, to be able to run and keep up after two toddlers running around trying to not let them like die on that super duper slide thing, and getting between the rolly things. I was like, yeah, and I was like, this is important. This is important stuff.
Yeah, trying to actually keep up with them. And it's more like that physical fitness, because we have like there's a Guanabana. Is it called Guanabanas? I think it is. It's Gambados. Sorry, Guanabana is a Filipino restaurant. That's really random. But Gambados, which is around the corner from us. Like I've taken Keanu and I've taken Kyla there before. Nolan will eventually go there. But when Kyla was younger, and I remember, it's a very tight fitted space. So what you were saying there, like trying to be able to like run around and like work your way in.
You have to run like this, like, because everything's so small. So like,
it's really, really small. And like you're climbing up everything and it gets so hot in there, like literally, like the kids come out and they're like completely sweating, and it's just like, oh my God, like, are you okay? They're like, yeah. And then here's some more sugar. Go.
Yeah. Go.
It's literally just, it's crazy in there. And I've been there so many times, but yeah, like one of those places is a lot. And to be able to keep up like physical fitness, even for mums and for dads, it's a lot. Like I mean, there's, what are they called? We got like it's called oxygen jump, I think it is, or something. It's basically like trampolines, just like a whole place of trampolines, right? And you get like an hour, and you're all in those specific socks that you have to wear, and you're just jumping for ages, and that takes your energy as well.
I've not done one of those yet. There's really? One close by to us. I just don't know.
No,
I've got the energy for that just yet.
no. It's so much fun. And I don't know, like Kiana was a bit young at first. Like Kyla, when we took her, like I was just trying to, like, she was just always trying to do like backflips and flips, and I'm just trying to like flip her. It's a lot of energy to do that. And then Kiana was obviously too long, so too young to, like, he didn't have the stability to, like, obviously someone like bounces and he's just gonna fly off like the actual thing. So on that I was like, oh, I'm unsure about that. But it's a lot of fun. But you're right, like anything like that where a kid has to run around in some like soft pit of like cushion foam or whatever it is,
it's gotta be fit.
It's actually really exhausting. So take out the aesthetics of it, physical fitness alone needed.
Just to have a nice day out that they're going to remember. And like you can't just be like, oh no, I can't take you in there. You paid for it as well. I've got to get your money's worth.
100%. But then has your daily, do you reckon your daily life has changed since like becoming a mom? Oh, obviously it has, but I mean like your approach to what, because I had this conversation with someone with the last podcast, Jacob, and he was obviously saying that time with his son is like top priority, and then it's work, and then fitness falls in third. I guess he runs a few businesses and a few restaurants, so and because of COVID, obviously lots going on. But I'm thinking now, like, depending on their age, obviously priorities change, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I think the first year was very difficult for me. I tried doing little home workouts, but I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. I hadn't got my PT qualification then. That's why. Sorry, no, I know what I'm doing now. It's not like obviously spurred me to like get all my knowledge. It's really difficult I couldn't get time away from the girls because obviously there's two of them and they're young, so leaving them with other people I think was too much for me to really kind of let people do that, and it was hard work. So fitness, I almost wanted to do this career as well because fitness is important to me. Moving's important to me, being able to move. So I don't know whether you want to call that fitness or anything. It's just being able to move well. It's important to me being a dancer. And when I realized I couldn't move well, it scared me. So I was like, oh, why don't I work in fitness? And I don't have an option. I have to like do it. If I didn't work in the fitness industry, I don't know how I would make time for it. I really, really don't. It probably would be more home workouts. Probably now they're 3 years old, I'd probably get to the gym, but then I'd be in a different, I just don't know. I honestly don't know how people do it. I mean, we all manage it.
Yeah.
But before children, when I was living in London and dancing, I'd go to the gym twice in one day sometimes if I could.
Twice? Wow.
Yeah, like I do a class in the morning, and then I'll do a class in the evening, or I'll meet up with some friends, we go to do something. I really, yeah, I was really, really into it. I was a lot slimmer then as well, so really, really toned. But now, because I wanted to look good, so that was an important part of it. Now I say I want to look good, but I'd rather be able to, like I said, move well, stay fit. I'm never going to have the body that I had before I had children, because pregnancy takes its toll.
Yep.
But I was like, I don't need to look like that. I don't have to wear skimpy outfits. I don't particularly want to wear skimpy outfits anymore. So yeah, I just enjoy working out now, and I'm glad I get to, between clients, do a lot of workouts. And you put a post up the other day about breaking down workouts, 10 10-minute workouts, 3 of those, like 30 minutes is as effective. And that's literally how I train. I'll be like, right, I'm going to do a set of squats. I've got 15 minutes. And then, I'll do some, a little bit of a push pull, which will take me 20 minutes. So I'm not overwhelming myself with a massive workout. I'm just doing like bits and bobs. As long as I hit all my main big movements that I want to do throughout the week, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I know this is quite random, but it's like someone saying, their nutrition and their calories, right? And they think about how much they eat. And then some people are like, which is completely fine, like people can do that and that's okay. But I'm thinking it is in, for example, just rather than think of it as, I need to eat this many calories per day, at the end of the day, is if you miss a little bit one day and have more the other day, like by the end of the week, you're still going to hit that same amount of calories, especially if it's purely based on how many calories you're intaking, right? Whether it's trying to lose or gain weight. So for me, I'm always thinking to myself, same as like you're saying with like the workouts, like I need to do 5 hours of workouts in the week. If I've split that up, I'm still being active for that amount of time, regardless of anything. And obviously, depending on how you're training, whether it's like strength work or like you said, push pull, it's still going to have an effect. So you're still going to get something from this, and there's still benefit for it. And you're making it work within your lifestyle. Because I think that's the other thing, right? You're trying to make sure that you can, whether it's eat the way or train the way you can, that fits in with your current routine. And if you've got like kids, or even if you don't have kids and you're working from this time, you need to make it fit. And if you fit it in that way and it works, then it's still better than doing nothing. I think that's the other part.
Yeah, that's my motto. It's better than doing nothing.
It's better than doing nothing. Yeah, 100%. I was like, look, even if you, because I don't know where this thing of like an hour workout, I guess like as PTs, right? Like we have 60 minutes, like it's a 60-minute session. But it doesn't mean that you need to be completely moving for that entire 60 seconds. I mean, there's very rarely you go to a class where it's exactly an hour. Most classes are 45 minutes. I would assume, like, that I've seen, unless it's like yoga where they do like a 90-minute like yoga class, which is a little bit different. I'm always thinking to myself, like, you don't, just because you've done 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that's still good. Like, to be fair, I'm not saying like my clients or people, I'm just saying general people that I've spoke to, they take a lot of rest when they're working out for an hour. They have a lot of rest periods.
Oh, I can make squats last an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, what happened to that time?
Yeah, and I'm like, so I actually say to everyone, I'm like, actually, guys, you have to remember, like, if you think about it, what you do in an hour, like, you could probably do in half the time. You're probably taking too much rest, which is why, like, some clients that I train, the ones who are like, what's next? I'm actually wanting them to have more rest, and they're like, I don't think I did enough. And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what you've done in your session is usually some people's 2 sessions, even maybe 3. Like, you've done so many like exercises and reps, and they just like pump it out, like their cardio is so good, and they're just like, but they want to like just keep going. They don't want to just stop and rest, even though sometimes they need to. So I'm just like,
I think when people are like booking a personal training session, it's they've allocated that time, so let's get it done. But I said, people, we don't. I mean, sometimes I'll get one of the trainers to train me.
No, but
it's
we all
nice
do
to
that,
switch
right?
off and just be trained. Yeah.
I said this. I said to everyone that, not that it's a luxury. It is a luxury. I was like, I'd love someone to basically just tell me what to do, and I don't have to think about it. The whole ball ache of it is thinking, what do I do? What should I do?
Yeah.
And that's
I like someone to hold me accountable, make sure I do it all properly, and it's we kind of all need that. But saying that, some people can't, like you said, personal training, it can be a luxury.
Yeah.
Having that time can be a luxury. But then some people just make it work, as in they'll do, you know, a busier day at work, maybe take a few hours off for, you know, pop the girls over, their children over to grandparents. It's I'm not saying like they've got the time, but that's the time that they're putting for it. Mentally, they're prepared to do that hour or 2 hours or 3 hours throughout the week. And they don't do those little 20-minute workouts here and there, whereas that's generally what I would do, because, you know, I don't pay for a personal trainer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. Oh. Does your husband?
It's late at night, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right.
Does my husband?
Yeah.
My husband, he used to play rugby up in Chester, and I think somewhere else. He is he's a landscape architect, but he does like the design and then he does the build. So we basically call it garden gym. So sometimes he'll shift like 20 tons of rubble or whatever it is. That is pretty insane. And he'll be honest, he does like 20,000 steps in a day. Like, I don't think you can really get much fitter, but it's a different type of fitness. I don't know what it's like in the gym now.
Well, no, it is. And I said to someone, you can get someone who trains, who does a lot of like, you know, isometric like exercises, you know, like isometric, like they're isolating their biceps, doing all this, chest prep, whatever it is.
Putting it all together, they're like.
Right? And then I say to them, okay, now go work on a building site and see how you do working on a building site for a day. And then they do a whole day of like, you know, wiped out, and then their muscles, they all say to me, oh, like, God, the next day, like my body's really hurting. I mean, this has obviously happened, but as example, doing something that you don't normally do, it's gonna take out of you. And it doesn't mean that you're not moving. So for example, if he's doing that, or someone who does like, I don't know, boxing, right? And they're not used to doing that rotation and their waist and everything else. And they're like, oh my God, like my shoulders, like I'm so sore the next day. I was like, yeah, it's a completely different, like you don't normally use them. And that's the thing. So if he's doing that, it's still a workout in itself. Does he ever come and train with you at the gym though?
He hasn't. We've done a couple of training sessions, but to be honest, sometimes I just, again, I'm like, what should I do today, Rich? This is when we used to have time to train. So I used to let him just tell me what to do. I clearly don't like training myself, but like other people do. I like to just focus on the movement. I don't know if he'd listen to me, to be honest, in the gym.
I love that. That's great.
This is why I like being a personal trainer as well, because sometimes I'm like, some clients come on, so I have a few clients I'm working with them, like diastasis or diastasis, however you want to pronounce it, so abdominal separation.
Yeah.
And their session, we're like, oh, it's quite, I don't want to say bad, but it's quite severe. And then like 3 or 4 sessions, sometimes I'm so surprised by how far they've come that I can't quite believe it. And I'm like, you listen to me. You did your homework. You're doing everything correctly. No one else listens to me. So I'm like, this is why I like being a personal trainer, because I get to tell people what to do and I actually get listened to. I come home, my dogs don't listen to me, my children don't listen to me.
That's actually
I'm like, guys, it's dinner time. No one coming for dinner, okay.
I love that. But you're right though, like I'm just, oh wait, actually, before I even go to the next bit, was your kids know what you do, right? Your girls know.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because I saw on your story the other day, and they came to the gym and they were just like swinging around, which was brilliant.
Well, basically, because I've got like little bits of equipment at home and like my exercise bands. So again, look, Mummy, I'm doing exercise. I'm like, well, do a squat, and they do their squats, and they'll do sit-ups, they'll do their press-ups, kind of. I make them hang up, try and pull themselves up and things. And I read a nice little meme on Instagram, almost kind of what I was just talking about, saying your children won't listen to you, basically, but they're always watching you. So, you tell them, don't do that. They just do what they want. Well, my kids do. But they'll copy what you're doing. So, they'll see Mummy going to do her exercise. And they see Daddy outdoors all day. So I think it's really nice for them. It's just normal for them to see that, which I think is good.
No, it is good. I mean, what do I do with Kyla? Well, Keanu, I think it's a bit hard. He sees me exercise and he will say like, oh, you're doing exercise, when we're all doing home workouts. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, great. And then Kyla, when she was younger, we she always wanted to do gymnastics, and we never got a chance to get her into it. I think the one that we wanted I don't know, the place that we wanted to do, there was no placement, like it was just fully booked, like, you know, every year it was just like no spots. I'm like, okay. So I said, do you want to do something else? It's like, do you want to do boxing? Because that's what I was doing. And she was like, yeah. So we just got her a coach, and I had a coach. We'll just do it together, which is great, which was nice, because I love doing that with her, and love doing it. And even now, I mean, that was a while ago, and obviously she's a lot older now. And when I did it with her like last month, I think. I was just like, hey, should we do some pad work in the house? And we just did it, and she was great. And it was like, obviously she's a lot bigger than when she did it before, and she hits a lot harder, which is always fun. Yeah, she loved it. And she was like, oh, this is so good. And it's weird because it's so hard of knowing when to introduce exercise. I think that's actually one of the questions that someone asked, was like, when do you think it's a good time to start implementing exercise into kids? And it's a tough one, because I have this weird thing about, I think kids can do everything that we can do as long as it's fun. Like, you know, fun, and it's suitable for their age, right? So like, whether it's like I said, boxing, kids can do that if you want to do it.
I just don't think it should be called, it's just activity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, and children should be active every day. Yeah. So 100% when we're introducing exercise, I guess from the day they start rolling over, really, isn't it? That's an exercise, but it's, yeah. Oh, my baby let to roll over. I saw your little, what is it, Nolan? Yeah. So he's walking at 8 months. Yeah, he's like a machine. It's really, really weird. I mean, it's so hilarious, because when it happened, I spoke to Sean's mum, and she was like, oh, that's when Sean was like walking. I was like, that's a lie. No, it wasn't. And I said, your mum's trying to big you up and make it out like you were walking at 8 months. And she was like, I did. I was like, nah, I don't believe it. Nolan's like, I've never seen a baby walk at 8 months.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Mine were like 14 months.
Well, this is the thing. Keanu...
they just got up and that was it. They were done. I was like, okay, walking now.
No, Kyla she stood up at 9, and then she was walking before her first birthday. I mean, this is like 14 years ago. This is a long time. That's the other part. So I'm like, when was it? And then Keanu, he was walking. It was a little bit slower. It was more like a year, maybe a month after where he could properly walk. But Nolan's on a really random level of just walking.
Also, and when you've got, because mine started walking after I hung out with another set of twins who were a few months older.
Yeah.
And they just watched those two boys walking, and that was it. They just copied and started walking. And I think sometimes, you know, they're like, I wonder if I can do it. Oh, yeah, baby legs work. We could do this.
Actually, I'm thinking the whole reason why he probably started walking early was because Keanu and Kyla liked being held. They like being like cuddled, in that sense, like being picked up all the time. He doesn't like anyone holding him, really. He just wants to just
independent.
Yeah, so he's just like, you pick him up, he's like, all right, I'm good, get off me. And then I'm like, why is he like that? And then like Sean's like, he's like, just like you when you want to. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's probably right, he's probably like me. Right, so I thought we'll just go through some of the questions that people were asking, because I just think some of them are quite interesting. Probably won't be able to go through them all, but we'll go through as many as we can. So one fun question is, where do you get your motivation from when you don't feel like training?
Where do you get your motivation? Well, like we said before, something's better than nothing. And then sometimes I just don't do it. I'm not going to lie. If I really don't want to work out, I don't. Yesterday, I was like, feeling a bit of a twinge in my back. Could do upper body something. I need a rest.
And that's fair enough.
Is that a bad answer for a personal trainer? I mean,
no,
I wouldn't I think rest is important.
Rest is important. And I have this weird thing that, I don't know, ever since I've been a personal trainer, people sometimes say, oh my God, like, do you like not eat sweets? Do you not eat this? And I'm like, no, I eat a lot. If you saw what I eat, I eat pizza and McDonald's and Five Guys, probably more than I should.
Balance, yeah.
It's about balance. And it's the same thing when it comes to like working out. Yes, I want to. It depends, right? So if you have a goal and your goal is like, I've got an event or a holiday, it's different. Or I've got a marathon. It's not necessarily visual, but performance wise, it's like, I've got something to train towards, so that's it. But if you're generally just making sure that you want to just continue to stay fit, it's okay if like you feel one day it's not, as long as you're kind of being consistent with
Do you know what? That's a good point about having like a set goal. Sometimes it could be a skill you want to perfect. So something I really wanted to get good at was kettlebells.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get good at something unless you practice. So if I wasn't really in the mood, I was like, okay, well, let's get really good at a snatch. Let's get amazing at that. Let's get amazing at a little mini kettlebell flow. So then it'd be like, oh, fumble, oh, I dropped it. Not the best thing to happen with a kettlebell. But then like practice. Oh my gosh, I can do it. Oh, my hands hurt a little bit. It's time to stop. So yeah, that would be, I'd set myself a little goal of something that isn't necessarily feeling like exercise. Again, for me, that's movement. I like a kettlebell flow because one movement goes into the next, and I don't feel like I'm working out. I feel like I'm trying to make this movement really good, and I want my body to feel good while I'm doing it. So yeah, when I was in lockdown, we weren't getting out and about much. It wasn't right, pick up a set of dumbbells, let's do 3 sets of 10.
Yeah,
I was like, right, let's get these 3 movements looking amazing on this side of my body. Let's try the left side, get that looking really good. And then I did my workout. I was sweating, felt really good, and I was really proud of myself because I've got videos of myself and I thought I looked good doing it. I'm like, oh, I wasn't that good. I'm better now, and I love that, like that progression. And it's not how I look. It wasn't fitness based as such. It was like making movements flow.
Yep.
And being proud of that.
No, I agree. And this is it. That's
find something you enjoy doing.
Yes, and that's why I would always say, what exercise routine has worked best for you being a busy mum? Is it kind of like similar to the fact that just the routine would be, if you can fit it in, then you fit it in where you can, right?
You don't need to be clever with a workout, as in you don't need to be fancy, I think the word. You see a lot of Instagram movements which look really, really impressive. There's me going on about the kettlebell flows. So I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I feel like a good workout is really simple. Get your main movements going.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got a set amount of exercises. I also have on my little list, so my set exercises I want to achieve in that week, and then I also have learn a new exercise and get that looking good. You're building up, learning more and more exercises, more movements, different pieces of equipment. So, and again, learning that exercise isn't my workout, it's a learning thing, but it actually turns out to be a workout because I've got to practice to get that move looking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, short and sweet. 20 minutes is a sweet one for me.
Yeah.
You could always have to be loads of moves.
Yeah, you can always, I was gonna say, you can always do I always say like your primary movements, right? Push, pull, squat, lunge, twist, and rotation. Like
I don't do much more than that, really. Yeah.
You get one of each, and you're working every bit. Like there's so many different ways of doing it, and you're right. Like don't make it so complicated. Just think about it. When you start getting into a routine of it, and you're being consistent, then start to tweak it. But at the beginning,
you don't need a crazy program
to
get results. You need to progress, obviously.
Yeah.
You don't need to be doing backflips in your living room.
I agree.
Unless that is your job.
I can't imagine that. Weight management during, I think she meant during pre and post pregnancy. Yeah. Like, how did you deal with your weight management in the sense where I'm assuming like, did you feel like, well, you had twins, right?
Yeah, my experience, everyone's experience is unique. It's different, and every pregnancy is unique and different. Weight management, I think your best weight is your healthiest weight. So as long as you're eating healthily, stop eating when you're full, eat when you're hungry. The classic rules. That's the best thing to do. Look at your plate. Is it a healthy plate? Again, you don't need to be doing these crazy diets. So you're getting your vegetables in, your protein in, your carbs. You're allowed a treat as well. I was obsessed with fresh orange juice when I was pregnant. I was in London at the time, and I'd march down all the streets till I could find like freshly squeezed orange juice. Like, that's good as in vitamins, but it's also lots of sugar in it.
I mean, Sean really liked pickles.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind pickles, but she really liked like a
pickles with every pregnancy.
No. Just
the last one.
Yeah. So pickles.
I wanted baked beans on toast. I love baked beans on toast as well, and I used to eat that a lot when I was a child. That was my main meal.
even some of the food that she liked then, and then all of a sudden she just went off it now that she's not pregnant, and she's like, oh, I was like, oh, why did I even like that? I'm like, I don't know, like I'm not sure, quite sure, it's just what you liked, so that's completely fine. This one's actually,
but yeah, listen.
No, go on, you go. No,
I was just going to say, just to, what I'd say to like my clients who are pregnant, I forgot what I was going to say now, is don't worry about the numbers, don't worry about calories as much. You've got other things to worry about. Like I said, good looking plate,
eating for two.
Yeah. If you are like going on a mad one with the food and you're snacking, then have a snack, have half of it, wait 20 minutes, you want the rest of your snack. You know, those small little tricks that you do to satisfy that craving, but not devour everything.
Yeah, and like that whole, you're not eating for two, that's not necessarily the case. Like, you know, they're like super
I was starving when I was pregnant, so honestly, if you put on a few extra pounds and you wanted to, like, you there's another time you can lose it.
Yes, 100%. What do you think are the well, actually, she's basically talking about back health regarding kids who love to be carried. So like, I'm reckon like, if their back is hurting because their child always wants to be carried. I mean, I was gonna make a joke and be like, just stop carrying them. Like,
yeah, but you can't, can you? Learn how to carry a child, anything, properly. So good posture, ribs stacked over hips. Learn to inhale, exhale at the correct times to get the right amount of intra-abdominal pressure that's like suitable. Obviously for early postpartum, you want to be watching that. But learning how to engage your core correctly.
To support
I have seen some, I don't have experience with this, but I've seen some really interesting kind of almost like slings for toddlers and older children. You kind of strap it around here and it would support the child under their bottom, and meaning you can kind of stand up straight, they're supported close to your body. So there's equipment you can use to help. But do you know what? Your back can go when you're just doing the most basic of tasks. So it is something you should, all parents, mums, dads alike, need to be careful, like putting children in and out of the car. You know, that angle that's far away from the body, and you're hoisting them in and out. You've got to learn how to, like, almost standing like one foot in front of the other, inhale, exhale, get the core, try and get those seats perhaps that rotate round if you have back issues. So the car seats, they rotate round, picking them up rather than the reaching over. But it's a challenge that everyone faces, and learning good technique, which again, you know, this correlates from being in the gym, learning to pick up heavy things correctly. We need to train people for motherhood. It's not easy.
No, and that's actually a good, I mean, like the next question I'll definitely ask was then like training during pregnancy. Like, did you train during pregnancy?
Do you know what? I didn't. I thought I'd have a fit pregnancy and I didn't. I got to the point where I stopped working earlier than I wanted to. I couldn't face going on the tube, so I was very much homebound. We've got a dog, a pug. She only would get a little walk around, you know, the block. And I spent a lot of my time watching Desperate Housewives. I wish I had a different story to say for my pregnancy.
Would you train? Would you train if you got pregnant again? Would you train through it?
I'd train. I'd listen to my body. In the sense of, if I'm not feeling the big workouts, that's fine, but I do something. Definitely stay more active. I live in a different place now as well. London. I was living in London when I was pregnant, and I live in Cheshire now. So I've got countryside all around me, so there's plenty of places to walk. And I'm not saying it's easy for everyone to just access space, nice space. So it's you know, it is what it is. Again, my lifestyle's very different now, so I think exercising is really important when you're pregnant, but feeling like you're not stressed out is more important. Like, don't get stressed out over missing a workout.
No, that's fair enough. Right, I'm going to ask you two left. One of them is, this one's actually quite interesting, quite like it, is how do you incorporate the food you eat into the kids' meals, or do you cook theirs separately?
I do both. Not every day. As in, sometimes we mainly try and eat as a family, if we are able to do that. But obviously, sometimes I'm working in the evening, and then my husband will have the children. So it's like boom, 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 boom. Let's just get the children fed. We'll sort ourselves out later. There's loads of recipes. We are very lucky now. We've got the internet, and there's so much information, recipes, and you don't need to go crazy. I'd say have 3 main recipes he really, really everyone likes, and you can do them week in, week out. So you can have like whatever a nice healthy pasta that everyone will eat on a Monday. You can have it for your lunch the next day, or even the second night. We don't all need to be Delia Smith in the kitchen again. Who's got time for that? meal prepping is a fantastic idea, but even that's quite overwhelming for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I like to say, if you're going to meal prep, do it 3 days. 3 days of meal prep, 3 days of not worrying, and then small meals that you can manage throughout the remainder of the week, and then your food shop or your takeaway or whatever your treat is.
Yeah.
It's just doing what you can manage. Eating together is the goal, but it's not always possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes your children will like broccoli and the next day hate it. So sometimes it's just a guessing game of what everyone's going to eat.
It changes all the time.
Yeah.
No, but I think with the kids it's very, very different. Kyla, she doesn't like eating certain food. She's a lot more picky. She doesn't like sauce on anything, which is also, I find, really weird sometimes. Like, I'm like, do you want any ketchup? Nope. Do you want any mayonnaise? Nope. You just want it
have your
plain
dry food.
I'm like, fair enough. And then like Keanu will just question things, but because he's 5, he kind of like looks and he's like, and then I'll have it, and he'll be like, Daddy had it. And I'll be like, yeah. And he'll be like, okay, I'll try it. And sometimes it's just like, close your eyes. I just cover your eyes. Okay, open your mouth. Now try it. You like it? Yeah. I was like, okay.
Oh, that's good.
Like, don't look
I just
at
say
it.
to everything like, because they do copy a lot, don't they?
Yeah.
I love carrots. And they're like, Mummy, I love carrots. I'm like, come on.
Oh, it's so good.
And when I say I'm eating things, I just I love my broccoli. Yeah, Mummy, I like broccoli too.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you don't. You're just saying that.
They just saying it, yeah.
This is it, and no, I completely agree. Oh, and the fact that you said like you have a pup. You have a dog. How old is your dog?
4.
4.
4 years
Yeah,
old.
so you have a 4-year-old. I like that one of the questions was, does puppy parents count?
Of course it does. Oh my gosh, like it's hard work having a dog. It's hard work keeping anything alive. Dogs, chickens, children,
right?
plants.
No, I agree, and I said this is the other thing. I was like, parent is a very specific. People have this weird perception that parent means like one way of being a parent, right? And I'm like, no, like technically you're right. The person who put that, does pop. I've got 4 dogs, like, yeah, trust me. It's like I've got 7 children.
It's hard work. Yeah,
basically. I have
they all need love.
kids.
They all wee on the floor at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what am I cleaning up first thing? It's been a few years of like, we had another dog as well. He's a rescue, but he wasn't our dog to begin with. Sadly, his owner passed away, and she always wanted us to take the dog if anything happened to her.
Yeah.
But he came here, and new environment, it was a bit traumatic for him because his owner had passed away. And he just wee on the floor everywhere. And I'd be like, and I was potty training the girls, so they'd wee on the floor everywhere. And I was just like, I can't work.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
More wee, more poo. It's great.
That's the other thing. It's just gonna, just be prepared, people. There's a lot of that to come.
It's gonna be messy and stinky a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And messy, I think, for a long time. I don't know how, I can see it in your video. I don't know how there's no drawing on your walls or anything, like scribbles.
So the hilarious thing is, this was originally supposed to be Nolan's room, but I was just like, no, he doesn't really need it right now. So it's basically my studio and work room. So there's actually
for the time being,
no one's allowed in this room. So it's basically for me to do work and everything else. So I'm like, sorry guys, that's it. That's fine.
Make the most of it while you got it.
Exactly. No, but I'm really glad that we got to do it, because I was saying I wanted like to have you like introduce you so that people can like hear more about you, see what you do, what you've done, what you did in the past, the clients that you work with, and obviously answer some questions that people have asked. I mean, there was more, but we can only get through so many, and we've been talking for a while, so it's I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then hopefully we'll we'll do another one, and probably about something different, and just keep changing the topic and see what people want to ask and everything. So it's just quite fun. I'd actually kind of like to know, and I'll probably go through it with you and ask you to go through workouts, like actual workouts that you may do when you're working out for yourself. And I think people would like to know that as well. This part is more just like I said, just like an introduction, just being able to like find out more about.
Well, definitely, I will say for anyone who's listening and postpartum, like my workouts have changed a lot since having the girls, progression, how everything's changed. So don't expect to jump straight into amazing workouts. Start with the basics first.
Yeah, I was like, build a strong foundation
later.
Yeah, exactly. So
we can talk all about that another time though.
Yeah, so another time they're going to find out about that, so they'll just have to tune into that, so that's okay.
Yes.
Amazing. I love it. This is good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.